Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to today's Advisicon Academy training. My name is Amanda Carlson, and I'm the marketing coordinator here at Advisicon. We are a group of authors, teachers, consultants, and technologists offering training in the Microsoft technologies, project management, and methodology. With attending any of our training sessions, we offer PDUs as we are a registered education provider with the Project Management Institute. At the close of today's session, I will give some instructions on how to claim your PDUs and how to get in contact with Advisicon for any questions you may have. Now, before we get started, I'd like to go over a few things so you know how to participate in today's event. If you'd review the control panel, that should be on the top right of your screen. The audience is muted during this session, so in order to ask questions, you will need to submit them in the questions window of the control panel. This webinar will be recorded and uploaded on the Advisicon YouTube channel for those who could not attend today's session live. Please note that any of your questions or comments submitted will not display in the recording, nor will any of your personal information be shared. And it's now my pleasure to introduce today's instructor, Maria Fenn, one of our wonderful project advisors here. So without further ado, I will hand this presentation over and we can get started.
Thanks, Amanda. As you mentioned before, my name is Maria, and I'm a project advisor here at Advisicon. I love anything that has to do with project management, Visio, OneNote, Planner, Microsoft Project, all of the above. And today, what I will be talking to you about is, first off, what's new with Planner in 2019. Second, best practices for building a planner board. And then I will be demonstrating those best practices in a demo today. So let's get started. In the past 2 quarters, Microsoft has released several features in Planner. Firstly, we've got copying plans. Now, instead of creating a planner board from scratch each time, you can save time by copying a planner board that you are either using as a template or maybe liked the flow of it. Whatever the reasoning is, now you can copy planner boards for your own, for different uses. Second, you can now export a plan to Excel. For example, if you need to take your project plan, organize it in a table instead of maybe manually entering the data, you can now export that plan to Excel, clean it up, make it pretty, do whatever you want to do with that. Thirdly, you have the option to collaborate with Microsoft To Do. Now, this is relevant for those of you who use Microsoft To Do. And for those who don't, I highly recommend it. It is an easy, extremely useful tool for keeping track of your daily tasks. Now, what Microsoft has done is when a planner task is assigned to you, there's a section in your Microsoft To Do for planner tasks, and it'll populate in there, allowing you to keep everything in one place. Fourth, we have task assignments in notifications in Teams. So for those of you who are using Teams, I don't like to receive task updates from my email. What I like is how now they can allow you to receive notifications in Teams about when a task is assigned to you from Planner. To sum everything up, now in 2019, you can now copy your plans and reuse them. You can export the plans to Excel. You can have tasks assigned to you that are assigned to you in Planner pop up in your Microsoft To Do and receive notifications in Teams. When it comes to talking about best practices for Planner, this can be considered a flexible concept. And the reason I say this is because projects vary. Each situation is a little different, and not all of them can be covered by a templated plan. Planner is intended to be simple and easy to use. It is not like Microsoft Project, which holds every detail about the project and then some. It's lightweight, and that's intentional, which means the best practices are simple, but that doesn't change the fact that they are extremely important, and they will make your life easier as you use Planner. Alrighty, so the 3 best practices for you to remember are: 1, keep it simple. Do not go adding 10, 15 buckets unless you want to be scrolling to the right or the left all the time. Also, if you're having trouble locating tasks in your planner board, the likelihood is you have too many tasks in there. So instead, make the tasks higher level, add a checklist that allows you to know when you can close that specific tasks. And that I'll be demonstrating in just a little bit. Second, adding detail. The more detail you add in the tasks, the less follow-up you need. By the detail, I'm not meaning adding more tasks. We just talked about simplifying. I mean, give it a due date, encourage your coworkers to make comments as things change about those specific tasks. Add checklists, add a description. This will also make those charts that Planner has extremely valuable to you, because instead of having to go look through each task to see where it is, you can get a bigger picture look at the charts that Planner has. Thirdly, we've got utilizing all features, which is similar to the second one, but I'm a big believer in using all features in whatever system you're using. Because if you're using everything available to you in Planner, then it is unlikely you're going to be missing any information. Yes, there are features that you may want that are not here yet, but in the meantime, what we have will provide everything you definitely need. So, and to help with that and for you to be able to use all of the available features, we're going to go through them today and kind of show you what that looks like. So let's begin. Now that we've gone through the new features, let's start with our demo. So I'd like to reiterate the great thing about Planner is that it is flexible to your situation. So looking at the Planner Hub, we can view Planner boards that are determined as favorites. We can see all the other recent plans. You can go to all plans. And as you can see, the favorite ones right here should probably be reevaluated since all of their tasks are late. So, and as a side note, just if you'll notice up here, you can actually get the Planner app on your mobile phone. It is fantastic, highly recommend it. Just a note there. Let's move on. Okay, so I'm going to be opening the Planner board over here called New Plan. As you'll see, brand new plan, just the to-do starter bucket. And I'd also like to say is that one reason it's so important to be familiar as we're doing this is because the more familiar you are with Planner, the more prepared you're going to be to use the new project. So here we have buckets. We have this to-do bucket. We have the option to add a new bucket. And it's very important to think ahead of time of how many buckets you're going to want for this project. I personally like only having enough buckets to fill my one page, so I don't have to scroll to the right. But different projects need different structures. So for this new plan, I'm going to add just 4 buckets. We're going to keep the to-do. We're going to add a new bucket by clicking Add New Bucket. We're going to go On Track. Oh, and we're going to spell On Track properly because that is helpful. Going to go At Risk. And lastly, Late. And the reason I'm choosing these is because it ties in with the demo that I have a little bit further on. Now, if you put together your buckets and you realize, I don't really like how this is organized, I think I'd like to change it. For example, late could potentially go behind risk because the at-risk tasks could be because of the tasks that are running late. You can drag and drop your buckets to rearrange them in a better view. You can also do the same with tasks. Tasks are easily, you can drag them to different buckets. You can drag them to different buckets. So, and how you want to separate the buckets, again, it just depends on the project. You could separate it by phases, you could separate it by progress, have a to-do or a backlog, you could have an in-progress bucket, you could have a completed bucket. It depends on the project. I like this setup right now for the example that I'll be using. So for tasks, once you decide how many buckets you want, it is time to add tasks. When you first begin to add a task, so we'll click the Add button right here, you're going to see all of the basic information. Add a task name, so we'll say, for example, clean the storage closet. Now, if we click into this task, you'll get more detailed information. You can see you have the Assign button here. I can assign this to our demo person, Sarah Davis. You have what bucket it's in, which you can choose. Say we've already started the work on cleaning the storage closet, so it's going to be on track. And you've got the progress. You have the option of not started, in progress, completed. We're going to go with in progress today. And the start date. I started cleaning the storage closet, let's say today, and I need to be finished by Friday. So we're going to organize. So the description for this task is organize storage closet alphabetically, which let's hope I can spell that correctly. Haha. So now we have a description, and the checklist is great because you can add a high-level task and then add details to it. So what needs to get completed for this whole thing to be marked complete? So if we were going to do clean the storage closet, you'd have to sort all equipment, put all the equipment in boxes, and then organize alphabetically. There you go. And then as you progress, you would check mark off as you complete it. So let's say I've already sorted all the equipment. Maybe tomorrow I'll put the equipment in boxes. But wait, I find out we're out of boxes. We have to order more. So my job in this role would be to add a comment so that my PM, in this case me, would know that we're out of boxes. So out of boxes, need to order more. And this brings me up to the labels up here. These are fantastic, and I've already kind of put them together. But if you'll notice, we have the labels here. And what I've done for this scenario is I've separated by approval, priority 1, priority 2, and I'm going to add priority 3. But it should be noted that you can organize these in different ways. The point is using them, because when you use them, you have better visual of what goes where and such. For example, you can use it like I did for priorities, or if a certain task needs an approval of somebody else other than yourself. You could also do it for different task owners to keep track of who owns the task, not so much who's doing the task, or task type. It, again, depends on situation, but whatever that situation requires. So in this scenario, we're going to say that my final work needs to be approved. This is not of high priority, but it needs to be approved at the end. Oh, and I apologize, I forgot to send the comment. Make sure to send it, otherwise it does not stick. I'd like to also note that once you write the comment, the only way to delete it is to delete the task, just so you guys know. All right, so we're going to go from here. We're going to actually move on and fast forward a bit by opening the Planner Best Practices demo that I have here. So this is one that's already mapped out. Again, we use it to do on track, at risk, late. This is already assigned to everybody. And you'll notice it's the same person just for the sake of the demo. Made it a lot easier. And it kind of demonstrates, keep it simple. Notice everything is within my view right here. I don't have to scroll left. I don't have to scroll right. I don't have to go down. It's all within view. It's got detail on every task. You'll notice a lot of these tasks have a checklist, or they did when they weren't completed. And we're going to be talking about a little bit about the features. Now, the better you are, the more prepared you'll be for the new project. So everything you do in your planner board is going to be used in the future project. So let's help you get used to all of the features that we have available to us. So if you look up to the top of the page, we've got board, charts, and schedule. So board is where we're at. This is our planner view. If you wanted to get a high-level picture of what exactly is going on, we can click charts. You can see the status of all the projects. It can show you how many tasks are assigned to which bucket and who's assigned to what. So you can tell it's just Sarah Davis or not assigned to anybody. And then if you need to, you can scroll and see the tasks that we have in our planner board to your right. So if you needed to find one and see why is this one late, let's see, which one is it? It is the invite guest. Anyways, not invite guest, but the point is you can see this one's late. And it's moving on. And then going next would be the schedule. So the great thing about the schedule is it lets you see what's planned out in a calendar view. So you can see that create guest list is the task that's late. Whereas determining event agenda, though it's half done, it's it needs to be completed by Friday. And invite guests also needs to be completed by Friday, but since you see it doesn't have that half-filled circle, it hasn't been started. So in that scenario, you could figure out who's on the task by clicking it. See, this isn't assigned to anybody. That's a problem. It needs to be done by Friday. Assign it to somebody, follow up with them, make sure they know the deadline, etc. That way you can also keep better track of schedule slips too. So we're going to click next the ellipses up here, and you'll see there's a whole bunch of other features now we have available to us. So we have next we're going to click is conversations. So when you have a planner board, it connects it. The first time you click conversations or any of the others, it will create a office group. And this office group is going to open the groups tab in order to allow for conversation between members. And in this case, it didn't create it because I've already clicked it before. After that, we're going to click into members. And what this does is it also opens the office group, but it allows you to see who's on the project. And if you wanted to invite anybody else, it would allow you to add those people. That click right here. Going back to Planner. After members, we can go into files. So if you'll notice, I'm going to open files real quick. This connects to a SharePoint library right here. If we go back and say we click invite guests, you'll see right here there's an add attachment button. So if you were to choose to add an attachment, that's where it would be stored. It would go to the document library here. For example, in this scenario, we could have attached the guest list. Now, next one is Notebook. This is fantastic. So this allows you to keep all of your notes. So you've got your files in one place, you've got your people and contacts in one place, you've got also OneNote in one place that allows you to keep all of your notes together. So you could keep track of your meeting notes. If, for example, the marketing team got together and decided what needed to be completed for this specific project schedule, because it's an event, they would be able to keep all of their notes in here by adding a page. You could add a section. Now, if you're interested in learning more about OneNote, we do have other webinars. I'm not going to go into detail about it. Feel free to look at those webinars, though. They are fantastic. So we'll go back here to the planner schedule, click the ellipses again, and now we're going to open the site. So this planner board is also connected to SharePoint sites. That if you want to, so you can see conversations is there, you have access to documents again, notebooks, pages, etc. After sites, we're going to move down to here. So the add to favorites, if you'll remember when we were back in the Planner Hub, there was a section for favorite plans. So if you have a lot of plans you have visibility on, but you're only working on a couple right now, you can click add to favorites and have it at the top. So you'll notice here on the left-hand corner, Planner Best Practices demo is now over here. You might have also caught that the star turned black over here. So you can click it and unclick it, and that will also change back and forth whether it is added to favorites or not. It's a quick little fix. Next, as we talked about before in what's new with Planner, we have the option to copy a plan. So you can go ahead and click that. In this scenario, I would do Best Practices Planner V2, make it private, and copy plan. There we go, and it'll appear in recent plans once it's ready. So we'll click that in just a minute. So while that's loading, we're going to export plan to Excel. So this is what we were talking about earlier. So let's go back to the board. I'd like to have that visibility. So you'll see we've got some tasks that are on track and in progress. We have things that aren't started. If you wanted to put that together in a table in Excel, all you would need to do is go to export plan to Excel, and it'll load at the bottom. Now it might load off my screen, so I might have to drag it back over. Yep, there it is. So if we pull this up, you'll see the columns, each one that's in the planner boards. We've got task name, what bucket it belongs to, the progress of it, assigned to. Obviously, this was all done by Sarah Davis. What day it was created, because I prepped today, and whether it's late or not, which I find really beneficial that it has that in a certain column. So you could enable editing, rearrange this however you like, just send it via Excel if you'd like to. After we have plan settings. So what plan settings does is it allows you to choose whether or not the group should be receiving emails when a task is assigned or completed. And there's more details on that too. It automatically doesn't check it. So you can check it if you want to, or you can go into group settings and get into a little more detail. Flip that open. Just giving it a moment. There we go. So if you wanted to get into a little more detail, you could simply check receive all conversations and events. So this will give you a notification for pretty much everything. Or you can do receive only replies to you in your group events. You can choose to also only receive replies to you. So if it's your task and you receive a comment, that would populate your inbox. Or just don't receive anything. Now, what we recommend here is if you're using Teams and you're receiving those updates via Teams, you don't need the inbox notifications. For example, I have a board that I've totally forgot to turn off that in. And so when I get a notification from it, I get one from Teams. I get one from Outlook. I also get it in my to-do. That's too much for me. I like just Teams, but it is up to you. That's what we recommend. We'll just discard because I don't need to make any changes right now. Go back to the planner board and cancel. So after that, we have add plan to Outlook calendar. Now I'm not going to go into too much detail on this one just because it can go a little further, but might be covered another day. So, but I'd like to also kind of show you a little bit of a simpler table. So we've got this one here. Great. The tabs, the tabs, I should probably cover those. So you'll notice here, these are the same tabs as the ones we had. We have the approvals tabs, the priority, priority 2, priority 3. Also, I have a little nice to haves here. So this way, somebody were looking at the schedule, they'd see, oh, this is something they'd like to do if there is time, but it's not an absolute necessity. So you'll notice that the thank you gifts, that's not a necessity, but it's something that's nice to have and I'd like done by August 23rd. Others you'll see this is a priority 2 that just pokes out right here. You can see that when you quickly open the tab. You'll see counting RSVPs. That's a high priority. That's priority 1. You can tell by the little red tab. Or creating a guest list. That has to be both approved and done as soon as possible, which is not good when it's late. So for a little simpler plan, we're going to move over quickly to Backlog. And the benefit of this one, it kind of shows just a simpler setup. For a backlog plan, you really don't need a whole bunch of buckets. This can go as long as you want because there's really no need to have that kind of visibility. You can just drag and drop as things get started. So update flowcharts. Oh, I started that today. Just actually assigned Sarah to it. And I updated our processes on our flowcharts today. So that's checked off. In progress. I started that today, as we mentioned a little bit before, and done. So this is the benefit. And then also I'll point out too, when a task is completed, it does hide it so you don't have that cluttering up your screen, especially if it's a bigger project. Having it shrink down is kind of reassuring that you're making headway personally, but that's a cool little feature there. So, and while we're here, I'm actually going to go back to our planner best practices demo, and I'd like to point out a couple of these features up here. So if you'll notice, if you have a large planner board with tasks assigned to multiple different people, oh, this is demo V2. Huh. I apologize. I clicked, so this is the copy plan. We're just coming back to that right now. So remember when I copied the plan a little bit ago? This is that copy. All the same information, nobody's assigned to it. So we're going to go back to my original planner demo. There we go. There's Sarah's face everywhere. So if you were to click your icon up here, it'll point out all of the tasks that are assigned to you. Then you can just uncheck that. But that helps with some visibility if you're only on a couple of tasks, but it's a larger board, and it'll kind of show you where yours are. So now if you click members, this is where you would either add a new one or you'd have that visibility of who's there if you don't want to use that ellipses and open up the members page. Another thing you can do over here is filter. So if you wanted to filter like what tasks are late, what tasks are due today, or for example, what has an approval label, what needs to be approved before it can be marked complete. Or you could even organize by bucket. So if I only want to see what's on track, I can just click that. Or who is this assigned to? So if something, I can see who hasn't been assigned to anything. That's weird. Something's been started, but it doesn't have a person attached to it. Then you can assign that person, get that finished, and move on. Lastly, you can also group by bucket. Or group by. So the group by, you have the option to group by bucket. You can also group by assigned to. So this helps you have some visibility. So say it was Sarah Davis and my coworker Amanda, and Amanda owned only 5 tasks, but Sarah has like 10. So instead, you could move over thank you gifts to Amanda over here if she were over here, or vice versa, where you could say, oh, this is unassigned. It should go to Sarah. She needs to be the one doing this, and it'll just assign her. You can also do this for progress. You can see which you've got not started, in progress, completed. That's automatically set up because of the progress options. You can do it by due date, or even just by the label. So you can see approved, what's priority 1, priority 2, priority 3. This offers some good visibility, which shows that you could have labels if you kind of wanted to spread out, or the more labels, then you can have that kind of spread out look, but then still when you go back to buckets, it gets back to this one view where you can see everything in one spot. Now, that is the end of our demo. But again, I'd like to reiterate, the better you get at Planner, the better you will be at the new project, because everything you do in your Planner board is going to be in the future project. So let's review just a little bit for our best practices. Keep it simple, high level tasks, not a ton of buckets. The amount of time, or the amount depends on the project, but it is easier when you can see everything on your screen without having to scroll. Make sure to continue adding detail, add those checklists, add the dates, add the progress and comments as things change. And then also make sure to utilize all those features. Keep all of the documents shared in that document library related to the task, all of the notes in OneNote. Create checklists of those tasks so you can see, oh, I've already printed out all of the invitations. These features are extremely useful when you're managing a project and give you great visibility. Now, if you'd like more training, please see our website. But that is the end of my demo today.
Great, thanks, Maria. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We welcome your questions and feedback, and for more information, you can email us at contact@advisicon.com. Once you exit today's webinar, you will receive a survey on the presentation, and you will need to complete and submit this survey in order to receive your PDUs. From there, you will receive a follow-up email within 2 business days with your PDU information. If you're watching this recording on YouTube or another social media platform, please be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future uploads. And also, don't miss out on our Summer of Savings. All classes between now and the end of September are $10 off, and you can find out more about that at advisicon.com. On behalf of Advisicon, Maria, and myself, we thank you for joining us today and hope to see you participate in our future webinars. Have a great day, everyone.